Hello fellow adventurers, today we are doing a deep dive into the lore of Gnomeregan, the history, the unresolved mysteries, the unanswered questions, and how they might finally get resolved in Season of Discovery. We've already done part 1, which is the original dungeon, the loot, the quests, the rewards, the bosses, everything you need to know. Before you watch this video, definitely check out the video in the top right, and it's linked in the description below as well. As we approach the February 8th launch, understanding the lore is critical. Not only for curiosity, but also for strategy as well. After all, in WoW, knowledge is power. So in part 1, I'm going to be talking about the controversial lore of Gnomeregan. Gnomeregan's story is one of innovation, tragedy, unresolved mysteries. We need to explore the key events that have shaped this iconic location. See, it all started in the mountains. The dwarves and the gnomes lived in Dunmorrow together. They were both intelligent, they were both resourceful, so a friendship quickly formed between the two races. After a while, the gnomes and the dwarves worked together to create a magnificent city called Gnomeregan. It was a wondrous and very technologically focused city. And so for a while, all was well. The gnomes invented fantastical machines and gadgets that more than made up for their small stature. They were led by a high council of gnomes who ended up electing Gelban Mekatork as their leader. Also on this council of gnomes was Sicko Thermoplug. He was one of the most genius inventor gnomes, and he was the most ambitious of all the gnomes as well. He dreamed of one day expanding Gnomeregan further into Dunmorrow and the Dwarflands. So anyways, the gnomes lived in relative peace for many years. That is, until a dwarf expedition into Alderman awakened all the trogs from their slumber. After easily slaughtering the dwarf expedition, the trogs tracked the dwarves back to Ironforge. As the tragic legend goes, they were distracted by the loud sounds of the factories and the machines in Gnomeregan. So began a very long and horrible war between the trogs and the gnomes. With their city under siege and the trogs slowly advancing, the gnomes had become desperate. But of course, the rest of Azeroth was busy with the plot of Warcraft 3, so their leader Mekatork had to go to his council and ask for help. It was a stroke of luck, seemingly, that the ambitious Thermoplug had a plan. The pitch was simple. Gnomeregan has several levels, and the trogs are primarily on the bottom floors. So all that was needed was to move all the gnomes to the upper levels. Then the gnomes could unleash all the toxic radiation from the machines in the city into the bottom floors. This would immediately kill the trogs, and after the cleanup process, the gnomes could just move back in. But so began the downfall of the gnomes. See, Mekatork, in his desperation, went along with the questionable plan from Thermoplug. In the plot twist we all know too well, the whole plan was a massive betrayal from Sicko Thermoplug. When the radiation was released into the bottom floors, the trogs didn't die. They just got stronger and much greener. Meanwhile, a filtering system that was supposed to keep the civilian gnomes safe in the upper levels failed completely. A shocking 80% of the entire gnome population either died or became irradiated evil gnomes. At this point, the irradiated gnomes and the nuclear fallout trogs now ran Gnomeregan completely with their new leader Thermoplug. Thermoplug had also become irradiated and was crazier and more ambitious than ever. He also now had a sick mech suit, which was pretty sweet. Meanwhile, with their city completely ruined, Mekatork and the remaining healthy gnomes had to flee to Ironforge, where they remain to this day. So despite its rich history, Gnomeregan leaves many questions unanswered. Why hasn't it been reclaimed yet? What secrets does it still hide? Let's dive deep into these enigmas. The first question is why the city hasn't been reclaimed yet. During the original Trog attacks, the rest of Azeroth was busy with the Scourge and fighting the Lich King and messing up the Defile mechanic. But after the Third War, the city could have easily been reclaimed by a strong force of dwarves combined with the remaining gnome population. Really, the only attempt to take the city back happened with little fanfare and Wrath of the Lich King. The gnomes mounted an assault on the invaders, which was repelled by Thermoplug detonating a radiation bomb. I'm curious why you think they've never had a serious attempt to reclaim Gnomeregan. Do you think that's something we could see explored in Phase 2 of Season of Discovery? The other question around Gnomeregan is why the trogs attacked in the first place. The popular answer, of course, being that the factories were simply really loud and the trogs were attracted to the noise. But despite being kind of savage and brutish in nature, trogs were also known to hoard Titan artifacts. What do you think was inside of Gnomeregan that was so enticing to the trogs that it warranted a multi-year siege? That's the beauty of Season of Discovery, because we finally have the chance to get some answers to these unanswered questions. With Phase 2, Gnomeregan's lore is set to evolve. How the story might change and what new chapters might be added was a question we can answer on February 8th. See, we know we'll be revisiting Gnomeregan with a raid group and facing a new and more challenging Sicko Thermoplug. If we can defeat Thermoplug once and for all, this could be the beginning of a reclamation of the city. It's expected there will be new quest chains with raid rewards, and these quest chains might open up new lore and insight. One possibility would be even a new staging hub near Gnomeregan with vendors and NPCs. a perfect place to organize an assault on the new raid. There's another key piece of lore we're about to discover in Gnomeregan as well. Speculation is abound about the shadowy figure helping you get your epic craft in Phase 1. A lot of people are speculating it's the Night Elf Azalata. If that's the case, she'll likely be back to help us acquire even more epic gear and new artifacts. With the new raid coming, this really would be an excellent time to explore the engineering marvels and the rare artifacts the gnomes are keeping in the lower levels of the city. There are countless machines and gizmos that were lost during the war that will finally be recovered in the raid. With the engineering theme, there's a high possibility for unique and exciting items never seen before, or at the very least, an epic one-hander wrench item for smacking orcs with. What's really cool about Gnomeregan is that it's already chock full of great quests, great atmosphere, great lore, great bosses, so it gives the devs a huge platform to work off of. So you may wonder why Gnomeregan is such a perfect setting for a raid. Let's look at the unique aspects that make it ideal for this transformation. The first aspect of Gnomeregan that makes it so perfect is the verticality. As you enter from the top and take an elevator down, you descend the dungeon and it becomes more challenging. After all, this is the most vertical dungeon in vanilla next to Sunken Temple. There's no limit to what possible mechanics we might see with so much verticality. For example, we could even get something crazy like the Archimon mechanic launching players through the air. Assisting us as we travel deeper into Gnomeregan are the elevators, which will be killing plenty of raiders. While the elevators in Gnomeregan don't have buttons, there is one place we might be getting them though. I think it'd be pretty amazing to get a hard mode version of Sicko Thermoplug. Would you be interested in seeing hard modes for Season of Discovery? Whether we get any hard modes or not though, there's another engineering marvel in the raid. That's the very unique Vendortron system where you can exchange specific drops for rewards. Imagine instead of getting the typical low-value rewards from the Vendortron, you had a chance to get epic crafting materials and loot in the new raid. The Vendortron system isn't the only machine you'll be interacting with though. There's also the punch card system, which is part of the data rescue quest for Alliance. You could have random cards that drop and unlock doors leading to new rewards or even secret bosses. See, that's probably my favorite part of Gnomeregan being a raid. This is a city full of secrets and locked vaults and mysterious buttons that may well lead to rare treasures and unseen artifacts. I truly hope that Blizzard leans into the original spirit of invention and mystery and curiosity of the city the gnomes built so long ago. See, understanding Gnomeregan's lore isn't just about satisfying our curiosity. It's also about adding depth and experience to the challenges we're going to be facing in the future. I really want to hear your thoughts on the Gnomeregan lore and potential resolutions for the unanswered questions. Share your theories in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe as well. In our next episode, we're going to be providing the ultimate preparation guide. Everything from secret gear to BIS consumables, everything you need to get ready for the raid. In the meantime, check out my last video where we go over all the gear you can get right now that's going to still be relevant in the Gnomeregan phase.